Hi viewers, welcome to TestBite. This channel mainly focuses on software quality assurance. We will be adding content related to all types of testing, from manual to automation. Please subscribe to the channel for more upcoming tutorials. Today in our tutorial we will be looking into the defect lifecycle. We will first start with a recap on what is a bug and defect. What is a defect lifecycle and why it is important to have a defect lifecycle when working in a software development organization. The stages and states of a defect lifecycle and its definitions. I hope you find this content useful. So, let's begin. Okay, let's do a quick recap on defects and bugs. It sounds similar but it has its own definitions. Understanding a defect and a bug is very important. So, a defect in a system is the variance between the expected and actual results. It is the deviation from the customer's requirement, whereas a software bug is a problem causing a program fault or producing invalid output. This basically is caused by an error in coding. Once a software product or a module is released for testing, it is easy to find bugs within that module. Because just like problems are a fact of life, bugs are a fact of software. But fixing those identified bugs and making the module or the product defect-free takes up a significant portion of time. And it doesn't happen right away. It should go within a proper cycle. That's why the industry has introduced a defect lifecycle. So, a defect lifecycle defines the process in which the defect goes through different stages of its life from the initial stage of problem discovery, and continues through all levels of investigation, problem solving, and decision-making until the problem is closed or abandoned. Don't worry, we will be looking into the stages in detail later in this video. The main importance of carrying out a testing phase in the software development lifecycle is to check if the software product has any issues or errors. After identifying a defect, it is important to understand the defect clearly. The defect can either be valid or invalid, or it can even be a limitation. To carry out an investigation, it should go through various stages of its entire lifecycle. Okay, let's now get to understand the flow of the defect lifecycle. It's so simple, just like our own lives. If you follow the flow correctly, mistakes that leak are minimum. So once a software product, module or a feature is released, the tester will start testing. While testing, newly identified bugs will be logged. And now the status of the bug or the defect logged is marked as new. Once the bugs are logged, there will be a bug triage carried out prior to the code changes, where the bugs will be assigned to the developer. So, then the developer will analyze the bug. Then, the developer will first see if the logged issue is valid. If it is not valid, then the developer will mark the status of the defect as rejected. If it is valid, then, the developer will check if the defect logged is within the scope of the given requirement. If it is not in the scope, then, the status of the defect will be marked as deferred. And then, if the logged defect is valid, and also within the scope of the requirement, then, the developer will check if it is not already raised. If it is already raised, then the status of the defect will be marked as duplicate. In this case, the tester is free to close the issue with a comment saying duplicate issue. Now, let's say the log defect is valid, and also within the scope of the requirement, and not a duplicate defect as well, then the developer will start fixing it. When he starts working on the log defect, it will be marked as in progress. Once the code is changed and the issue is fixed, then the developer will mark the status as fixed, and the defect is pushed for QA review for retesting. Then, in this stage, the tester will verify the issue fix that was done by the developer. While retesting, if the bug still exists in the defining feature, then the issue will be reopened and the cycle will go on again. If it is finally fixed, then, the logged defect will be closed by the tester with proof of a screenshot or a screen recorder. So now, we have clearly understood what happens in each stage, and therefore we come into the following states of a defect during its life cycle. We hope this tutorial provided you with sufficient information about the defect life cycle. Let's see you again in our next tutorial video session. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button.